I celebrate me. No more hiding who I am. Every breath feels like a victory. Now I rise and take my stand. I celebrate me.
YouTube. Oh. So the day before yesterday, I ended up just not showing up. I know, guys, but I promised y'all I would be real. I didn't show up. Like, I struggled with it, you know? And, day before that, I got in the gym, you know, and I was ready to go work my tries and buys, and I got in a little bit, but I'm gonna go get me an energy drink inside. I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, so there was supposed to be a C-bum in there for me, but Kurt drank it, so we're gonna do a Lonnie, I guess. I feel like I have so much to tell y'all. So let's start with me skipping yesterday and with what happened when I was working buys and tries. So Kurt, you know, Kurt's side of the family has always given me troubles. They've just, you'd think after 22 years, like, they just get over it. But he had got an inbox about something. He said he's not going to really address it. And if so, it'll be on his days off. But, you know, it's somebody that's just been, it's one of his cousins that she kind of, you know, is siding with Bailey, doesn't even know the full story. I mean, she wasn't, none of them were around when my kids were growing up. So the fact that they think that they can believe the first thing that they hear from her is crazy. But okay, whatever. So I guess, you know, let's wage a war against me again. Like, not like I didn't win the first battle or two. But, you know, the thing about it is I will never forget what it was like to have a newborn baby and to have just buried my grandmother who raised me. And me and Tucker, my oldest son, our first experience shopping at Market Basket was we went through the sausage department, and the Newmans, sorry guys, which is that side of the family, Kurt's mom's side. It was his mom and his grandmother. They just turned away from Tucker and I and acted like they didn't know us. You know, didn't even look at Tucker, didn't mind me. So Tucker was very rejected, and so was I. Very young age, you know, trying to cope, trying to just raise this child that I just had, this fresh relationship, like all these things were happening at once, and then learning how to do it without the one person who raised me, you know, the one person that I had just known as my mother and my father. So through the years, you know, I've come to say, I would say that some of the Newmans have really come around and been okay with me. But this particular woman, his first cousin, she went and even blocked me on social media, you know. And I really think that my daughter should be the most concerned, because let me tell you what, now you're really playing with fire, child. You are playing with the beast, a monster that was put to rest, okay? That in the very beginning, before you even existed, you do not understand the amount of tears and the amount of fight I had to have to keep my family. So you trying to disturb all these demons and thinking you're gonna work them against me, you're crossing a line you may never be able to cross back. But, you know, guys, we won't know anything until we do, right? Also, on a new topic, everyone knows that my whole life, my identity, my DNA since 2020 has been like a lie. Y'all all know about my identity crisis and the trauma that I went through trying to figure that out, trying to get well. 4th of July 2020. Not long after that, lost a hurricane, lost family, lost a lot. Well, I have a new sister as of yesterday, guys. Yup, she is about to be 41, so we're about the same age. It's kind of crazy. I'm not going to say too much because, you know, she's still processing, and she found me on Facebook. And a long time ago, we were communicating on Ancestry DNA because she managed an Aiden and he was related to me, and I was just asking some questions. Never in a million years did she think that meant that I was her sister, right? But she seems really cool. I went and looked at her pictures. There's a lot of resemblance, you know. I guess because my father truly, he had a Vietnam vasectomy, and he truly really just did not know. I would like to think that was his excuse. It was just hard for him to believe that he was having children, you know. I don't know. But it's crazy. It's so just disappointing. And you know, I know everybody probably, there's a lot of people out there that has stories about daddies who came and left, but I don't even know if it's that part or if it's that, like, someone I loved like my mom as much and as deeply as I loved her would lie to me my whole life. And then the lack of healing and the division that was just built between me and my mom because of this big lie. You would think that maybe she was doing it for, you know, my best interest or whatever, or what she thought was her best interest, but really, you know, she robbed so much from me and my mom. And yeah, not intentional, but like, me and my mom now have a relationship that, like, I feel like we should have had our whole life. And a lie that everyone just thought was minor, it wouldn't affect anything. When the truth came out, there was healing. And there were things that my mom was able to talk about that I think helped her even, like, be in touch with parts of her she hadn't felt in a very long time. And I think it did good for me too, to hear how human my mom was, how she wasn't just out there, you know, trying to be heartless. She wasn't naive. Like, she was just really a victim to this lie also. I just feel like, had I been able to know my mom in that way at a young age, there are things like I would have probably felt safe talking to her about. Not that I wasn't safe with Mama, but I think there are things that my mom would have been able to swoop in and maybe really protect me from, like when my friend Misty was murdered and the detectives were just kind of coercing me, like asking me questions like, if she was your friend, why aren't you crying? You know, I was just so numb. And you know, telling me that I was spotted with her that night leaving the trailer park. And I knew that was a lie. I knew that was a lie. But like, they wanted me to say things that were going to make me guilty of this crime I had nothing to do with, you know. And I feel like the mom that she is today, had she been there, had I known her, had our relationship been on the scale that it is today, I feel like it'd have been safe for me to be like, okay, Mama, I want to talk to my mom. And I think that telling her what I was personally going through, I think that she would have like swooped up in there and said, don't talk to my daughter like this, you know. I think she would have protected me. But like, I was raised in such a way that like, it's complicated, guys. It's very hard for me to say some things or show that I needed my mom to my grandma, because there was just so much conflict and anger. And dude, it all sourced from this lie, this crazy lie that just would have benefited me knowing the truth from the get-go. Because, you know, then I felt very rejected and unloved by my sister's dad's family. Not that he ever treated me any different, but his family, under their breath, it was always like a low-key, like, yeah, you know, Danny's not blah blah blah. Like, I always felt so left out, and I would hear rumors, and so just so different. They would make it very noticeable that I was different, and that broke my heart more than anything. So when I did find out the truth, I guess I was more relieved to really be rid of those people that never loved me to begin with. Because, man, their lack of love was very out loud. I just think in the long run, telling me that I had a dad that walked off would have been better. And I do feel like I should have been given the opportunity at some point in my life to look at him in the face and say, hey, did you run away from me? Did you want to know me? Did you know that I play the trumpet? I'm musically inclined. He loved the guitar. Just to hear what he had to say. Would he care? I would like to think that he would have, because he did for the kids that he was allowed to be present for. He may not have been consistent, but he was there. So we're talking about this. Anyway, healing is always on the other side of usually some really painful truths, guys. It is all a part of the process. Just like when you go into the gym and you tear every, you know, those fibers, the muscles, you're working them out and you're sore the next day, right? The recovery, the healing is what makes them grow. Same aspect. Healing is on the other side of those painful truths. And honestly, there's a lot of healing internally that we need to do. We need to own some things about ourselves too. It's not just about what other people have done to us. It's also about some things that we need to like be aware about. Who we are, what we chose, you know, and why we chose that about ourselves. So yeah, today is basically, let's focus on being a better version of us, right? And everything that we do, we need to do with some purpose, friends. And not selfish purpose, okay? So, let's get to the gym. Okay, my YouTubers, so we are just getting to the gym to see the dark skies. I think we're gonna do a lot of core and a lot of shoulder. I'm just gonna spend a lot of my time here. Hopefully I will like really be able to like get y'all, you know, some footage today. Thanks for being here, guys. Okay, so YouTube, we did a lot of upper body today. I really spent my time like a lot of biceps, a lot of back, tries, shoulders. It was really an overall upper body day, just to wake everything up and get things warm. I don't know why, but today specifically I have sorry, I have been feeling anxious, you know, and it really doesn't make sense. Of course, anxiety doesn't make sense. So y'all know this channel is just all about me being me, being unfiltered, sharing the highs and the lows, the reality, because the highs and the lows of, you know, being a woman in her 40s, transitioning, you know, from raising kids to adult kids, my Ancestry DNA journey, which was the start of this years ago, just the craziness in life. I feel like, you know, we've talked about this before, but just influencers in general, they tend to share a lot of the highlights. You know, people are all like, get fit, you know, fix your mind, fix your body, and that's really not what it is. And I want to make this a safe place where, you know, the raw truth is that, you know, there's peaks and there's valleys. I want y'all to see into the valleys as well, you know. the low parts of parenting too, you know. Get the scoop, and on the inside that, like, not all your kids are going to be perfect. They're all going to go on their own path, and like how we deal with it, how we cope with it, you know. I just wanted to give it all to y'all, you know. I've met some great friends along this journey, but you know, I've lost some too. I feel like there's one particularly that's pretty close to coming to an end. I guess that's just all a healing journey. I think that the problem is miscommunication, and that's fine with me. If I'm not important enough to get on the phone and really have some clarity, or if I'm not important enough for you to hear my, you know, voice or whatever, if I'm just done putting people before me that don't give me the time of day. So anyway, guys, so our goal for June 20th was to be very prep ready. My abs are not popping as much as I'd hoped. I mean, I know that I've still got 20 days for that. They're there. It's just, I feel like I'm probably gonna just have to dry out beforehand before any pictures or anything's taken. And I know with time that'll come. I have to be easy with myself, you know, be graceful, because I did have 4 kids. So anyway, I did get a few videos, a little bit of stuff in the gym. Y'all, thanks for just being awesome all the time, supportive. You know, I'm now an Amazon influencer, so like I said earlier, like anything that I wear, anything that I have, like I'll promote, and definitely put the link in. But yeah, I'm just so grateful for you guys being here, and I just hope that my story and the things that I share can somehow inspire y'all, or make for a bad day a better day, you know. And so yeah, that's that, guys. Stay awesome.